Welcome back to Fairy Garden Discoveries, where STEM takes flight. Christella loved how light changed things, not by moving them, but by revealing them. One morning in the fairy garden, she found a mirror resting quietly in the sun. Not magical, not mysterious, just reflecting light exactly as it was. Today, Christella will discover that mirrors don't guess, don't exaggerate, and don't hide. They simply tell the truth that light carries. Christella loved how light changed things, not by moving them or touching them, but by revealing them, softening shadows, brightening colors, and making the smallest details glow. As the morning sun filtered through the garden, Christella carried her paints to the stone wall where she liked to work best. That was when she noticed something new. Leaning quietly against the wall stood a tall mirror, its surface smooth and bright. It caught the sunlight and sent it back in pale flashes, lighting the leaves nearby and scattering glimmers across the ground. Christella stepped closer. The mirror did not shimmer like magic or hum with energy. It simply waited, reflecting whatever light reached it. "This is interesting," Christella murmured. She moved her hand slowly through the sunlight and watched as the mirror returned the image perfectly. Same shape, same motion, same place. Light traveled from her hand to the mirror and back again. The mirror didn't add anything. It didn't change the truth. It only showed what light already carried. Christella smiled. This wasn't a mirror for guessing. It was a mirror for understanding. Christella raised one hand. The mirror raised one too. She tilted her head. So did her reflection. "Light reflects," Christella said softly. "It bounces." Sunlight struck her face, traveled outward, and returned again, following straight paths and predictable rules. The mirror didn't think or choose. It responded exactly as light instructed. Christella stepped sideways. Her reflection slid sideways too, keeping the same distance, the same shape, the same balance. "So you show what light sees?" Christella said thoughtfully. She traced an invisible line down the center of her reflection. "Perfect symmetry," she whispered. Each side matched the other, not because the mirror created a copy, but because light reflected evenly from every point. Nothing was flipped by magic. Nothing was hidden. The mirror simply returned the truth, clearly, quietly, and without opinion. Christella felt a familiar spark of curiosity rise. If light behaved this way with mirrors, she wondered, what else might it reveal if she watched closely enough? A sudden flutter of wings broke the stillness. "Well, hello there," squawked a voice. Christella turned just in time to see Flip the magpie swoop down and land directly in front of the mirror. Flip froze. Another bird stared back at him. Flip puffed out his chest. He said. "Very handsome." The other bird puffed out its chest too. Christella watched carefully. Flip bowed. The bird bowed. Flip leaned left. The bird leaned left. Flip gasped. "This bird copies everything I do." Christella smiled. "That's reflection," she explained. "Light hits the mirror and bounces back." Flip narrowed his eyes. "So, that bird is borrowing my light?" "In a way," Christella said gently. Flip considered this, then preened his feathers proudly. "Well," he said, "it has excellent taste." The mirror stayed silent. It didn't argue. It didn't flatter. It simply reflected what light delivered. Every movement, every angle, every detail. Christella knelt beside Flip and pointed toward the mirror. "The mirror doesn't decide what to show," she said. "Light does." Flip blinked. So it's not watching me? No, Christella replied. It's reflecting you. She held up a paintbrush. The mirror held one too. When light reaches a smooth surface, Christella continued, it reflects at the same angle it arrives. That's why everything lines up. Flip leaned closer to the mirror. So this bird is me? Yes, Christella said. Perfectly symmetrical? Flip stared for a long moment. Then he smiled. Well, he said, I do look very balanced. Christella laughed softly. Understanding reflection, she knew, wasn't about tricks or illusions. It was about learning how light behaved and trusting what careful observation revealed. The mirror remained still. Light bounced. And quietly, the truth shone back. Christella set her sketchbook on the ground and drew a straight line down the center of the page. This is a line of symmetry, she explained. Flip hopped closer. It looks lonely. Christella smiled. It helps us see balance. She drew half of a leaf on one side of the line, then held the mirror upright along the edge. Suddenly, the leaf looked whole, perfectly matched on both sides. Flip gasped. You finished it without drawing. I didn't, Christella said. The mirror reflected what was already there. She folded the paper along the line. Both sides met exactly. When something is symmetrical, she said, each side mirrors the other. Flip examined his reflection carefully. So if I'm even on one side, you're even on the other, Christella finished. Flip straightened his feathers proudly. I knew I was well designed. Christella laughed. Symmetry, she knew, wasn't about perfection. It was about balance and understanding how light helped reveal it. Christella moved the mirror slightly to the left. Her reflection shifted too. When I move, she said, the reflection moves the same distance. Flip tested it eagerly. 1 step left, 1 step left, 1 step right, 1 step right. This mirror is very polite, Flip declared. Christella tilted the mirror. The reflection changed again. The angle matters, she explained. Light reflects differently depending on how it hits the surface. Flip leaned sideways, then farther. The bird leaned sideways too. Flip laughed. This mirror follows all the rules. Yes, Christella said. Because light does. Mirrors didn't guess. They followed predictable paths. Equal angles in, equal angles out. That was why reflections could be trusted. Flip stared thoughtfully at his reflection. So, if I understand the light, you understand the mirror, Christella said. Flip nodded slowly. I like rules that make sense. Christella held up a shiny pebble. Its surface reflected light softly, but not clearly. Not all reflections are the same, she said. Flip squinted. That pebble looks blurry. Because its surface isn't smooth, Christella explained. Rough surfaces scatter light. She pointed to the mirror. Smooth surfaces reflect light evenly. Flip touched the stone wall. No reflection, he said. The wall absorbs and scatters light, Christella said. That's why we don't see images there. Flip thought carefully. So the mirror doesn't keep my picture? No, Christella said. It only reflects light in that moment. Flip waved. The mirror waved back. Flip stepped away. The bird vanished. Oh, Flip said softly. It only works when I'm here. Christella nodded. Reflection needs light and something to reflect. Flip smiled. That feels fair. Christella lifted her paintbrush again. The mirror lifted one too. It doesn't think, she said gently. It doesn't decide what to show. Flip frowned. So it's not judging me? Christella shook her head. It's just telling the truth that light brings. She painted a single line. The mirror made two. Reflection doubles what light touches, she said. Flip looked relieved. So that bird wasn't copying me to be rude. No, Christella said. It was following the rules of light. Flip bowed deeply to the mirror. Thank you for your honesty, he said. The mirror said nothing. Light bounced. Images appeared. And quietly, Christella understood why mirrors were such powerful teachers. They didn't explain. They showed. Christella carried the mirror a little farther into the garden, where sunlight filtered through the leaves in shifting patterns. The reflection changed. Branches appeared where there were none behind her. Sky slipped into the mirror's edge. Shadows softened and stretched. Light changes what the mirror shows, Christella said, adjusting the angle. But the mirror still tells the truth. Flip fluttered nervously. That bird looks different now. Christella nodded. Because the light is different. She tilted the mirror again. The reflection brightened. When light moves, she said, reflections change with it. But the rules stay the same. Flip leaned closer, then stepped back. So it's not lying, he said slowly. It's just showing a different view. Yes, Christella replied. Perspective matters. Flip thought hard. So if I look grumpy, the mirror shows that, Christella said gently. Flip smiled quickly. The mirror smiled back. Flip exhaled. I prefer that truth. Christella placed two mirrors together at an angle. Suddenly, reflections repeated. One bird became two, then four. Flip gasped. How many of me are there? Christella laughed. That's multiple reflection. Light bounced back and forth between the mirrors, copying itself again and again. The mirrors aren't making new birds, she said. They're reflecting the same light over and over. Flip stared at the reflections. So, I didn't multiply? No, Christella said. The light did. Flip counted carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4. He stopped. All of them are doing exactly what I do. That's symmetry repeating, Christella said. The same image, reflected again. Flip nodded slowly. So reflection isn't magic? No, Christella said. It's predictable. Flip smiled. I like things that behave. As the afternoon light softened, Christella set the mirror down once more. It reflected only sky and leaves now. No fairies, no birds. Flip hovered uncertainly. My reflection is gone, he said. Christella smiled. The light changed. And you moved. Flip waved at the mirror. Nothing waved back. Oh, he said quietly. It only works when I'm here. Yes, Christella said. Mirrors don't hold images. They need light and something to reflect. Flip considered this carefully. So the mirror didn't keep me? No, Christella said. It showed you when the conditions were right. Flip looked relieved. So it wasn't judging me, or remembering my bad feather day. Christella laughed softly. Mirrors don't decide anything, she said. They just reflect what light brings. Flip nodded. I like a truth that doesn't argue. Christella packed her paints, glancing once more at the mirror. Light still bounced across its surface, bright and honest. Reflection helps us understand balance, she said, in light, in art, and in how we see ourselves. Flip hovered beside her. So the mirror didn't tell me who I should be, he said slowly. It showed who I was. Christella smiled. Exactly. Flip puffed his chest, then relaxed it. That feels helpful? Christella closed her sketchbook. Light doesn't exaggerate, she said. It doesn't hide. It simply shows. Flip gave the mirror a polite nod. Thank you for being clear, he said. The mirror reflected sunlight one last time. Not magic, not opinion, just light, moving honestly through the world. As evening settled over the garden, the light softened. Long shadows stretched across the stones, and the mirror reflected the sky in muted hues of gold and lavender. Christella sat quietly beside it, watching how the last sunlight slid across its surface before drifting away. The mirror looked different now, gentler, less bright. But it was still the same mirror. It feels quieter, Flip said softly, hovering nearby. Christella nodded. Because the light is quieter. She thought about everything the mirror had shown that day. Movement and balance, symmetry and change. How reflection depended not on wishes or guesses, but on light traveling honestly from one place to another. Understanding, she realized, didn't come from staring harder. It came from watching carefully. Flip peeked at the mirror one last time. That bird always did exactly what I did, he said thoughtfully. No more, no less. Yes, Christella said. That's what reflection does. Flip smiled. I think I like truths that don't shout. Christella smiled too. As the sun dipped below the garden wall, Christella lifted the mirror and carried it back to its resting place. Light faded, reflections vanished, but understanding remained. Christella paused, looking at her hands, paint smudged, familiar, her own. I think mirrors are brave, Flip said suddenly. Christella tilted her head. Why? They show things exactly as they are, Flip said. Even when that's surprising. Christella nodded. That's the gift of reflection. She tucked her sketchbook under her arm. Light doesn't tell us what we want to see, she said. It tells us what is. Flip hovered closer. So when we understand how light behaves, he said, we can trust what we see. Yes, Christella said, and learn from it. The garden grew still as evening settled in. Not everything needed explaining. Some things only needed noticing. And when Christella walked away, the mirror remained, quiet, honest, and ready to reflect again whenever light returned.